planet of ours. We got some news today to talk about. Yo, I am Kane King, the filmmaker's filmmaker, and I'm coming to you live on YouTube a little bit early. I usually try to hold my lives until like later in the evening or possibly on Tuesdays because I drop a new episode every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Film Tricks and Politics is the show. Blackjack TV is the network. Make sure you go to the channel on YouTube, Blackjack TV, and smash that like button, smash that notification bell so you can be notified when we drop a new video Tuesdays at 8 p.m. But right now, we're just on here live, and I really need you guys to smash that like button. I'm not trying to let a couple people come in right now. We're going to talk about some things. We got to clean some house. We got some people that are sitting here still disgruntled about the FBA delineation movement. There's a full-blown civil war going on between the black community, the black bourgeoisies, and the FBAs. That seems to be having a civil war going on. Roland Martin, as of course, seems to be leading the charge. So he went off on FBAs, all that stuff. I'm pretty sure you've been seeing the clips running around about him ranting and getting mad. Look, the problem is that it's midterm. It's election season. It's midterms because they know they got to ramp it up now. It's in April. The summer is coming. It's in the spring. The summer is coming. So they have to ramp up exactly what they're going to need for this summer because the summer is going to be hot, y'all. I'm telling you, be aware of public spaces. Be aware of soft targets. If you don't know what soft targets are, you need to research your mind. And look, before I get any further, because of the terms that I'm talking about, not because of the community standards of YouTube, but for the terms that I'm talking about, I want to make sure that the authorities that may end up watching this video, that what I'm doing right now is I'm warning my people, I'm warning my fans on how to keep their head on a swivel, to keep looking out, because right now, as it gets hotter, we know how humans act. Things get a little bit more crazy. And being a black person, we know how we act when the summer hits. Everybody gonna be outside. It's supposed to be El Nino this summer, meaning it's gonna be extreme temperatures and extreme weather. That's what we're looking at. When you get those kind of combinations going on, you get people crashing out. And right now, Roland Martin is crashing out over the FBAs because election season is up and he got to shuck and jive and dance for the Democratic Party. But we already seen it in 2020 that the Democratic Party started to move away from Roland Martin. They start to swim back from Roland Martin because they start to understand that just because he could do the Tootsie Roll on stage, he still can't bring black folks to the polling booth to get those votes from Democrats. So right now, we're starting to see this civil war starting to peek his head out a little bit further. But when the summertime comes, that's when we're going to see a lot of things pop off. So I just want to let you know, soft targets. Make soft targets of things like churches, grocery stores, elementary schools, recreational places, parks, concerts, things like that, to where it's called a soft target because no one has the defense systems in order to protect themselves. And the predators that want to come in and do what they want to do to unaliving, they come in and do it at that moment. So I'm just saying, be on the lookout for that because that too, it can still be real. But it's also part of the propaganda machine that you can see that both of these parties like to use, the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, depending on who has the momentum going on. So, so right now, with the midterms coming up, Roland Martin types, they are shucking and jiving because they know that they are in trouble. They are in trouble. They're in trouble for this election because the black community it's been splintered as far as politically. Now that more black folks are getting more knowledgeable about politics and what they want to see, it's even splintered even more because people are trying to figure out what's what. Do I follow the traditions that grandma taught me and I just wake up blindly, go to church, and go vote for Democrat? Or do I use my critical thinking and try to see, far as my finances, far as my household, what would be the best thing, who would be the best constituent that I could go vote for, or candidate that I could go vote for, so it can help me out in whatever I'm doing. Or you got a mindset of, I voted before, I've been voting loyal to Democratic, I've been right here in the hood, I'm looking and seeing what's going on, and nothing's fucking changing. So fuck that. I'm going to go sit on the couch and I'm not voting any goddamn thing. So that's what's going on in the black community. And you got people like Tariq Nasheed, you got people like the Black Authority, that are basically leading the charge, leading the way of this critical thinking understanding, to help black folks understand that there's a way to critically think about how you can go use your vote. You know what I'm saying? So you get the Roland Martin types that's pissed off that FBAs are actually coming together and delineating about it. Do you talk about war? I talk about war because I'm talking about the civil war that's going on within the black community, that most of the people got kind of have a blind eye because the March Madness just happened. They're probably upset that NBA is, I mean, not upset. March Madness just happened. They're about to jump right back in the NBA because it's going to be the NBA Finals coming up in June. So they got that distraction, and they're probably still pissed off the football ain't going no more right now. But those are distractions. So there's a sector of people that are distracted with entertainment and sports right now. And then there's a sector of black folks that are actually sitting here listening to the politics every single day and seeing what's going on. And Roland Martin, he's going off. You could tell that he's feeling threatened. You could tell that he's lost footing because every other word against the people that he says he's protecting, the people that he says he's riding for, the reason why he has his show, he's going off on them. And see, these are people that are thinkers. And then you got people like the black conservative who's taking I guess glee. He's happy to see black folks fighting amongst each other. He's happy to see democratic liberal type of black folks fighting amongst each other because this guy is a black conservative, and he's going to use that as points to say, look at them, they're disorganized, they can't work, because majority of his audience, they lean towards the conservative, or they might be a white audience that he's talking to, and so this helps his fodder. So Roland Martin, I would say to you, man, why don't you just create a forum and talk to some of these guys? But I know why. It's because you don't want to platform them. They on YouTube, they your competition. That's how you see it. Opposed to seeing that you guys coming together as men, as content influencers on YouTube, and starting to maybe make a town hall for black folks to see that you don't have to be a Democrat and you don't have to be a Republican. All of those kind of things. You don't even have to be an independent, like Stephen A. Smith talking out the both side of his neck. You know what I'm saying? Trying to act like he's the middle ground of what it is to be right or wrong about the red or the blue side, which is Democratic or the Republican side. This is where Stephen A. Smith gets it wrong, because you're not the even kill person. That's not what we need. We need someone with a backbone. We need somebody in there that's going to do some tangibles. We need somebody in who's going to change things and make things happen. Why do you think most black men are leaving the Democratic plantation and seeking pastures elsewhere? Whether they just sitting on the couch, or whether they just going to go vote Republican or going to go vote for Trump. See, Trump represents something that is like strong, something that is aggressive, and that's what a lot of us felt like has been needed, because there's a lot of pussyfooting going around. Of course, with Roland and his whole panel, they're just yes men. They're just yes and glad men. That's what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And so now you got Al Sharpton talking about we shouldn't celebrate the 250 years of America being America. I can get it and I can understand where he's coming from, but I also can see the division that keeps on causing. You see, Even within those 250 years, I think 144 of them we've been actually emancipated free. But before those years in 1776, when they signed that the we the people, the Constitution, when they signed that, yes, we were still slaves. But even in that time, there were slaves that was rebelling. They were learning, understanding what America was supposed to be about, what it means to be equal, and all men are created equal, what it meant. And even when the Constitution got signed, Black folks understood it to the fullest of what it meant. So even though we weren't physically free, there was a lot of us becoming mentally free because we're thinking about what's happening in this country. So those ancestors that were living in those times in enslavement, but they were also looking at the light at the end of the tunnel that they would be free one day. And so they were preparing to be free. How can I, in this time, not celebrate that mental thought process during the most craziest, atrocious time for a human being to be in bondage? And so you got Al Sharpton, Mr. Permhead, pimp, FBI informant person. He got his already, but now he wants us to be like, this ain't our America. This is something else. We were slaves and this and that. No, sir. We're going to celebrate it because, for one, we have to start somewhere. We have to start the cooperation of Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, understanding that you are American, that you could wear that flag too, and you could be proud of it. It doesn't take away from the COINTELPRO. It don't take away from Jim Crow. It don't take away from the chattel slavery. It don't take away from reparative justice called reparations. It don't take away from any of that. Matter of fact, it empowers it because when we come and start to be part of the fabric of America, our history becomes the fabric of America, which it already is. Meaning that even though those slaves in 1619 to 1868, those slaves, every single person that was brought here or was here already and then put in bondage and that were born in bondage, guess what? They were Americans as well. Just because they didn't want to acknowledge they were Americans, not saying the slaves didn't want to acknowledge, just because the slave masters didn't want to acknowledge that they were Americans, doesn't mean that they weren't Americans, because they are. They spent the greater part of 100 years arguing amongst each other, the whites arguing amongst each other, who is a human and who could be considered a citizen. So it got down to where we were able to be 3/5 of a person, the way we could be counted as citizens, even while we were enslaved. So when you, Al Sharpton, say we shouldn't celebrate the 250 years of this country, this idea of democracy in America, you are being foolish and you are being disingenuous and you don't understand how a government works to build something. Look, in the world, this democracy that we're practicing today, it's never been done in any other country. And if it has been, it's probably from ancient times. And we're saying right now, we're 250 years into a great idea that says, hey, whoever you are, wherever you come from, you get to come over here and worship and practice freedom of religion, no matter how or how long you want to do it. You can speak and say whatever you want to say. The reason why we have these social medias, the reason why these technologies were developed, because we knew that we were free to talk and do what the fuck we want to do because we're American. Why not be American? Why do we have to have the image in our mind when we close our eyes that when we think of an American, it's some blonde haired, blue eyed white male? No, it's me. I'm an American. You're an American if you're brown. You're an American if you're green. It don't fucking matter. That's the issue that we're trying to do. When I said it'll bring more credibility to us, because slavery, chattel slavery, Jim Crow, that's American history. These are things that need to be talked about. And this is what is going to permeate into the families that we think are against us. White families, conservative families, or whatever else you think is against you, is going to permeate into their families at their kitchen table where their kids, the third grader, because I'm never, ever, ever talking to you goddamn adults. I'm talking to third graders to the high school kids, because that's who's going to change the world. We're cooked. We're done. All we could do is try to have some sort of awakening and some sort of critical thinking that we could pass down to the youth. That's what we could do. That's where we come from. So when I'm on here talking about there's a civil war going on in the Democratic Party, or there's a civil war going on in the black community, this is why I'm talking about it. I don't have to, and I know in the comments somebody's going to say, well, what about the Republicans? You don't think? Yes, there's a civil war going on with the Republicans. There's been a civil war going on with Republicans. Why the fuck do you think that we got Trump in office? Why in the fuck do you think we got Trump in office? I know it's early in the morning and I'm cursing. I don't give a shit. Drink your coffee and take a shit and come back and talk to me. But the point is this. Why do you think we got Trump in office? It's because the whites, the conservatives, they've been having a civil war within their own party, trying to find somebody who's going to have a backbone to do the things that they see this white man doing right now. That's what's happening. This is an outsider. He's not an establishment politician. You know what I'm saying? He's not part of this system. And I could even go any further. I could put my tinfoil hat on for you. My tinfoil hat on for you for the Trump situation is to say this: Jesse Jackson, Donald Trump, what's that guy? Not Mike Tyson, Don King, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Al Gore, all of those type of people, they were bought at the same time to be selected to get elected. Did you think about that? Did you think about that? Why do they keep showing us videos from when Trump was younger on Oprah's show saying that he might run as a Democrat? Because he understood politics. He understood how he could come in and conquer and win. See, at that time, Democratic Party, they were in the favor. They were in the momentum. They were the popular party. They were the sexy party. You see what I'm saying? Republicans wasn't the sexy party. It never been the sexy party. Republicans was the boring accountant in the background counting the numbers. That's who Republicans were. The Democrats were the rock stars, the celebrities, the Hollywood, all that stuff goes on. Still is today. That's why they're eating themselves right now. It's because of the way that they have to stay in this bubble to remain being who they are. So my point is, before I get off on a tangent, is to say that, yes, there's a civil war going on with the Republican Party. And we can also see there's a civil war that has been erupted with the MAGA, with Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, those kind of cats. Alex Jones, of course, always has been, because they can see they're fighting the bigger apparatus of government system. And that's going to be here when Trump leaves. That's been here before Trump got here. So that's what they're doing. What we have going on in the black community is an existential crisis of critical thinking. It's not happening. It's just not happening. I mean, look at Al Sharpton saying this thing. This is a person who's been in the greater part of politics for, I don't know, 40 years, 30 years. And he's telling us to separate when he's coming from the origins of integrating. So now he wants us to separate ourselves from this celebration. So how many more years do we have to go by to keep getting neglected by our own country, by our own selves? A self-inflicted wound. A self-inflicted fucking wound. Just like Dr. Boyce Watkins said, he ain't never had no white man tell him that he can't get no job. He ain't never had no white man tell him that he can't go buy no house. He ain't never had no white man tell him that he's not allowed to go take care of his children. He ain't never had that. He ain't never had no white man tell him that he can't take care of his woman. Now, he does talk about the welfare system and how, got to keep the father out the house during the, I think it was the 70s, the 80s, and maybe well into the 90s. And that may still be going on to this day, because I know my mom, she used welfare for a minute and got off and went her way. I'm not against welfare, but I am for life coaches or a plan to how to be on welfare and to get off welfare and to be able to show them how to invest and be better with finances and be in a better spot so they can eventually get off of welfare, because it shouldn't be a generational thing. And also, I believe welfare should be used for anybody. I don't care what type of money you have. Maybe there's a threshold for like a billionaire, gazillionaire, but there's some moments you heard the term of people saying that I'm house poor, or I'm house rich, or whatever, meaning that they have a nice home and it's probably almost paid for, or they're still paying for it, but they really can't do anything much else. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, this is something that we need to be figuring out as a people. We don't need to be sitting here saying, let's separate from our lineage. This is something that we created. We don't have any other country for us to go to. We don't have any other country for us to go to. This is our country right here. We can't be deported to somewhere else. We can't leave and go somewhere else. Okay, go to Ghana, go to Nigeria, whatever. I'm hearing conflicting stories about that situation. I'm hearing beautiful stuff, and I'm hearing the most treacherous, ferocious stuff. Meaning that at least I'd say 65% of the people I heard that went over there within a year, 6 months' time, they're back in America. Okay. So until we get the infrastructure correct, we have nowhere to go. And for people like me, I'm not going to goddamn place. This is my country. I'm going to go down with the Titanic. If that's what the case is, if that's how you see it. But I'm also here to say I'm here to better it and make it better, to make it feel like this is my place, this is my country, what's going on. Meanwhile, you guys are getting tied up about Offset getting shot in the ass for gambling. This is a gambling issue. You think that he hasn't had this has been a gambling thing going on with him. This is a whole epidemic that we need to talk about. I'm gonna save that for a whole nother show. But at the same time, I just wanted to come on here and just real quick to let Roland Martin know, like, yo, man, you need to switch up. You got to switch up. You need to join forces with the FBA. You need to sit down and understand what's going on instead of looking at the topical and using your fake ass panel that don't have any kind of, like, they're not in touch with modern society right now. Like your panel, Roland Martin, your panel would work so well in 1992. 1992, your panel would work so well. It would work so well. But right now, it's not. It's just causing division. They're out of date. One of the guys, he needs to go back to being a professor and just sit in class and listen to some of these youngsters so he can start thinking how he can use his knowledge that they have, because y'all do have knowledge. I'm not sitting here trying to say that Roland don't got no knowledge, that the panel don't got no knowledge. It's just the way that you guys spin it. The way that you guys spin it is getting so fucking old that you could tell, just like Mark Lamoist Hill or Mark Lamont Hill on the Joe Budden podcast. You could just tell that you're just cuffing for the fucking Democratic Party at the detriment of your people, just so you can win. It's just about power for y'all. It's not about real. Sorry, excuse me, guys. I'm over here. I'm sweating like a preacher on the goddamn pulpit because I am. I'm over. Look, Mark Lamont Hill, good guy, intelligent guy. I love the diversity that he's showing on the social medias, but at the same time, it just feels disingenuous when you're not trying to be all the way honest about what our people could be doing, what we should be worrying about right now. So there is a civil war that's going on between the black community and Roland Martin. You need to understand that it's not about trying to sway people to go vote for Trump or sway people to go vote for Republican. What it is doing is creating leverage for the FBAs in order to get some tangible shit from whatever candidate is going to be in office to help the black community do the things that they need to do. And it's not to say it's just for the black community. Do you understand that we're at the bottom of a lot of statistics of things? We're at the bottom of that threshold. We want to get into the competing areas. And getting in those competing areas, we got to start thinking and delineating and finding the people who's going to fight for us. And if that's not going to happen, if you guys are just going to keep doing symbolic gestures every time election season comes around, if you're going to be like, you stupid fools, I can't do it as good as Tariq Nasheed, but that is how you sound. You stupid fools, y'all don't know shit. Y'all don't know shit. You stupid fools. You need to just quit trying to vote for Trump and understand that these white people are trying to hurt you. You stupid fools. You goddamn. Look, we're not stupid fools. We're not stupid fools, guys. Your vote is just as powerful sitting home on the couch. It says that, hey, either party gave me anything to vote for. Or if you want to go vote or off vote, it's telling Democrat Party, I'm able to go vote, I'm registered, and I'm a registered Democrat, but I just voted off just because I don't want you to get the vote because you're not listening to us. You're not giving the tangibles. And so Roland Martin was going off about 2016, 2020, 2024. And he's saying that we're being stupid. No, we're not being stupid. We're being very smart and strategic. It's not gonna take one election to say, oh man, black folks aren't going to go vote. Because right now we're still seeing that 80% males and 80% of 90% of black females are still voting Democrat. But again, we still get blamed for the reason Kamala lost, the reason that Democrats not in office, instead of understanding what possibly the party hasn't done for the base. You see, we're the biggest island of the Democratic Party. And when I say we, it's not because I'm not a Democrat. I'm not. I'm definitely not. I'm not a Republican either. I have Republican values. I have some Democratic values as far as when it comes to social things. And I have some things that I can see could land in independent. But I like to say I'm a realist. That's what I am. I'm a realist. I'm really looking at what's real right now, what would work. And so again, voting is still a weapon, is still a tool out there that can be used. Enrolling people those types, you guys are gonna have to come with it. The civil rights movement, all that stuff, it ain't gonna work for you no more. That conversation is not gonna work. It's not. It may give you some credibility if you're trying to critically think and do something in the right way. It may give you that credibility as well, but it's just not going to work as in to sway people to get to the polls. We're gonna have to see some kitchen table issues. And the kitchen table issues, I guarantee you, the trans conversation ain't got shit to do with it. The LGBTQ conversation ain't got shit to do with it. We are talking about there are families with a mom, a dad, and a child that are hurting right now, that need some attention. And this attention is coming from an accumulation of years and years and years of neglect. And I don't give a fuck about what you conservatives right now are trying to say, because I'm a conservative as well. I don't give a fuck what you're trying to say right now, because the point is that you don't know and you don't want to admit the accumulative effects that has happened from neglect. Because if it wasn't, I don't know why you guys were cheering when the other AAs got the hate crime bill. The Asian Americans, after 1 year, it wasn't even a whole year, they got that. It's been 400 or something years. You see what I'm saying? And there's nothing about trying to say, "Oh, I'm a victim." We're not. We could be victims and still talk about this and still strong and victors, because we know what we did after Reconstruction in 30 years. What took most folks about 200 years, we did it in 30. Okay. We became senators and we were in the White Houses and all those things. We did that in 30 years after being out of slavery. That was fast as hell. Learning how to read, all that kind of stuff. So there must have been some things going on in 1600s, 1700s, and 1800s for us to have that kind of mindset for when we got freed, that we were able to apply that situation and be the leaders on what we needed to be. Now, I know we done got off track in this world. I know we done got off track, but we can get it back. And this civil war that's going on between black folks, it's necessary. Actually, it's needed. You know what I'm saying? We need more people to speak up and talk what's going on, and quit acting like you got to be this one person in order to have a black card. No matter what, just like my mom, my aunties, and other strong people that I see, to say, hey, I may work in this corporate world, I may say niceties to you, but if you keep on tripping, you will bring that gangster out of me. So we do get to grow up as a people, but that doesn't mean that whatever we came from, that goes away. We still a strong, powerful people, and we need to understand that. And so I really got on this live to really kind of address the Roland Martin situation, because I've been looking at this cat. There's a couple other cats, like I said, Mark Lamont Hill. He's not as bad as Roland at all, but it's just that in our generation, in our realm, the youth of everything and where he's at on the Joe Button, because I get it. I know what they're strategically doing. They strategically placed Mark Lamont Hill on Joe Budden's show so he can tap into the youth. He could tap into the younger men. into their minds. And I'm telling you, young black men, do not step into the simp mental state of what Mark Lemoyce Hill is doing. See, he's looking for a job at CNN. Uh-oh, hold on. He's looking for a job at CNN. He's looking for a job to be a Democratic shield, to be on the Democratic plantation, even though he says he's independent. That's questionable. Listen to him. Roland, Roland, it's time to start fasting. And it's time for you to start reading and get critical thinking because you're a smart brother. And I know you're stronger than this. The Clintons, they out of here. There's no reason to suck and jive for the Clintons no more. There's no reason to suck and jive for the Democratic Party no more. You could be whatever you want to be at any given time. And if you guys want to sit here and keep putting yourselves in a box, people are going to keep calling you a cult because that's what the Democratic Party, the liberal side, is starting to look like. It's starting to look and feel like a cult. If you don't think like this, if you don't look like this, if you don't vote like this, then you must be the others and they cancel you. Hey, cancel me as much as you can because I don't really give a fuck. I'm a FBA. Actually, I'm FBIA, Foundational Black Indigenous American, federally recognized and all that. And I think the sooner you guys get it across that these 250 years that we've been on, that this country is coming up on, this is our country. And it is our birthday. And fuck what Al Sharpton is saying. Fuck what he said. That dude right there, he's just trying to cause more division because he needs a paycheck. Do you understand that? They need a paycheck. They get a paycheck to make sure that you are indifference, that you are confused, so you can come running back to them to beg for social situations that you don't need. That you don't need. They could be created in tangible policies. They could put that in a candidate and put the money behind them and get them in office so they can write the legislation that's needed for black folks in the communities to be more thriving. And we know what those are. And we are getting to a critical moment, a critical threshold to where it's not going to make sense when we talk about this. It's going to fall on deaf ears. Just like Dr. John Claude Anderson said, by 2050, the black race, as far as economically, will be deleted. Go read the book Powernomics. Go watch his interviews before you crash out in the comments because I'll be here lurking like a shark and I'll be ready to answer your comments, good, bad, or ugly. It don't matter to me. We here to talk. We here to delineate. Yo, FBAs, stay strong, stay powerful, do what you have to do. FBAs does not mean that you hate white folks. FBA does not mean that you hate international people. FBA means that you're delineating about who the fuck we are. We don't want to just be called the peculiar people. If you don't understand what I just said, the peculiar people, go read your Constitution and go listen to how they talked about us before 1868. They called us the peculiar people. That's what they called us. But that's not a race at all. So we're delineating on what we are. This is a lineage. It's a lineage. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to say somebody's a leader, you go talk to all 48 million FBAs as leaders because it's part of a lineage. Yo, I'm out. I'm Kane King, filmmaker. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Please hit the share so this can go viral and it can go around because this is something that really needs to be talked about because I don't think anybody is talking about it in the angle and the way that I'm talking. And if you want to bring me onto a podcast and I'll talk about it in more detail and we can get in more in depth about whoever it is from Roland Martin to 19 Keys to Al Sharpton, we can go in on it. Even Trevor Noah can get some smoke. So we could talk about it because I'm tired of turning on my timeline and seeing punk ass, bogus ass bullshit of people just arguing the black and white when we could sit here in this gray area and figure out what's going on. We need it. Peace.